Hi, I'm Eric. In this video, I'm going to share with you my best teaching strategies, techniques, and tips so that you can help your child read at home. At the time of this video recording, I've been a certified Ontario teacher for over 15 years. As a teacher, I've worked with students from kindergarten to grade 8, where, among other things, I've helped them learn and develop as readers. This year, I have a class of 24 grade 4 and 5 students. In the evenings, I'm also a private tutor, where again, I help students learn and develop their reading skills. I feel this is really important to mention because the same teaching tips and strategies that I use in my classroom and during my tutoring sessions, I'm going to share with you right here. These are strategies to teach reading that have been developed by education and reading experts, and they're also backed up by research. Part 1. Choosing something to read. No matter the age, grade, or reading level of your child, the first and most important step is to find something that your child is excited and interested in reading. Whatever they choose also needs to be a good or just right fit. What is a good fit or just right book? Think of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You want something that is not too easy, not too challenging, but just right. A good fit or just right book is something that your child can read with pretty great accuracy. Once you have chosen a good fit or just right book, you are ready to read. Part 2. Reading with your kindergarten to grade 3 child. So to start, you could have a few books out on the table that you know are interesting, that you know your child is going to be excited about, and you know that are good fits. So you might lay the 3 books out on the table and ask your child which one you want to read today. So you want to sit in a comfortable position beside your child. The reason you want to sit beside your child is because you're going to watch their body language as they're reading. Now, if you're sitting across the table from your child, their head's going to be down as they're reading. Their head's going to be down. You can't see where their eyes are looking. You can't really focus that well on what their lips are doing. That's why you'll need to be sitting beside them. So maybe they decide to read this red and blue and yellow book. What you can start by doing is read them the title, and then do what we call a picture walk. So a picture walk is just a discussion where you flip through the book quickly, you have a little bit of discussion, you're not reading the book at this point, but you're just looking at the pictures. So I might start again, this book is called Red and Blue and Yellow, and on the front we see a boy, and what colors do we see here? What colors do you notice on the book? Well, the playground is red and blue and yellow. So then we flip open the book, and we're just looking at the pictures. So, what do you notice in this picture? They might notice that the car is red, the stoplight's red, the umbrella, and the boy in the shirt, they're all wearing red. Don't give them those answers, though. Let it come from them. So just turn to the page and just wait. See what they say. If they're not saying anything, then you might ask them a question like, what do you notice here? What else do you notice as you flip through the book? What color do you think might be next? What colors have we seen so far? Once you've done that, if this is the first time that they've seen this book and the first time that they've read it, you want to read the book to them. This will get them familiar with the book and also help them out, especially in the kindergarten grade 1 students or children in kindergarten and grade 1. It'll help them out, give them a better understanding of what the book is about, so they have some sense and some meaning as they go in and start reading it to themselves. So sitting beside them, you can pretend, they're sitting right here and we're going through and we're reading the book. Look at the lights. The lights go red and the car stops. And stop there before you turn the page or before you have them turn the page. Give them a moment to discuss it. Once they've discussed it, move on to the next page. Okay? Here's my bike is red too. Here's my red bike. So there's a picture, there's a drawing, you can discuss the red bike. Maybe they have a bike that's red or a friend that has a bike that's red, so you can start making those connections to things that they've experienced, that they've done. Maybe they read something else where they had a bike that was red. Maybe they painted a picture in art in school and they brought it home and it was red. So you can have lots of discussions there. Remind them of things that they might have seen that were red. For students in older grades, so grades 2 and 3, you might not do that picture walk. You might not even read it to them first because they're at that higher reading level, that higher understanding than a child in kindergarten or grade 1, for example. So you might skip those two first things. You might skip the picture walk, you might skip reading it to them, and go right into them reading the book to you. None of this is written in stone. It's not a step-by-step set of instructions. So you really need to understand your child and your child as a reader in order to better understand where you want to go to start with. So whether, again, it's doing that picture walk to start, or whether you're going to just go ahead and read the book to them, or skip both of those and have the student read the book to you. It's, again, really up to you. Now it's time for you to start reading with your child. For a book like this, We Are Playing, the text is very short. Okay, there's only a few words, one sentence on each page. So for a book like this, you might decide, since you've read it to them already, to have the student read the book back to you. Of course, you're right by their side so that if they get into troubled spots, if they need your assistance, you're right there to give them that help right away so they're not getting stuck, they're not getting frustrated. If it's a longer story, so for example, something like The Little Red Hen, where there's a bit more going on the page, there's some more finger sweeps to different lines. You might read the page and have them read the page back to you. Then you go on to the next one where you read the page again, they read it back to you, you read the page, they read it back to you, and so on. That works well for longer books. So if it is something, maybe you're reading with your grade 2 or 3 child, you might just do it page by page instead of the whole text and then coming back and having them repeat that to you. All right, so now you're reading with your child, and this is the important part I get asked by parents all the time. What happens when they get to a word that they don't understand or that they can't read? So you're reading along. Here's a book called Tiger, Tiger, and they're reading Mother Monkey is asleep, but they don't know the word asleep. So they're reading Mother Monkey is, and they stop, okay? When they stop, when they don't understand, this is why you're beside them. This is why you're there to give them that help. This is also why you're paying attention to where their eyes are. You're paying attention to what their lips are doing, because they might stop at asleep and look back at the picture. And they might be able to tell from the picture of the mother monkey and the baby monkey, if you can focus on that there, that they're both asleep. So they might get asleep. They might say sleeping. Either case, that's okay. But mother monkey is... Okay, they stop, they look back, give them that time to look back at the picture. If they start to form that first part of the words, if they start to say, let them work through that. They might have been taught in their classroom some sounding out strategies that they're trying to work through. So just give them a few seconds, let them try to work it out. If you notice though that they're really not getting there, if they're not getting the correct beginning sounds, if they stop at asleep and their face just goes blank, so mother monkey is, okay, then you know they're stuck. So when you get to that point, just give them the word. Give them the word right away and they move on, asleep. Now they can go, baby monkey is, and hopefully what you'll see them do is get that next word asleep. Because you gave it to them already, hopefully they were listening and paying attention and they can recognize the next word now as asleep. If not, if they get to that part and they stop and they freeze again, just give them the word. The reason that you're giving them the word and not just letting them sit there and struggle for more than 3 to 5 seconds is because you want to preserve their understanding and their comprehension of the story. So what happens in children's brains as they're trying to decode or figure out this word is all that brain power is focused on decoding this word, and the story, the meaning of the story, everything else gets pushed out. So when you're trying to have discussions as you're reading the book, when you're having discussions at the end of the book and your child says, I don't know what happened, or their discussion is way out there and really has nothing to do with the story that you just read, the reason could be that they're not comprehending what they're reading, and possibly that's because all their energy is on that decoding. So that's why we just give them the word right away, and we try to preserve that understanding, try to preserve that comprehension. The other thing parents will say to me all the time is, they're not really reading the story. They've just got it memorized. We've read it a few times. I read it to them. They're looking at the pictures. It's all memorization. They're not reading. And what I tell parents is, you're absolutely right. They are just memorizing it, especially in kindergarten, grade 1. They've got it memorized. But that's okay. That's a beginning level for a reader, is memorizing the story. looking at the pictures and being able to understand the pattern in the text and what they're reading. So I know that they've memorized it. You know not that they've memorized it, but they don't know that. They think they're reading. They think that's what reading is. Practicing enough, maybe, until they understand it. Let them keep thinking that. That's okay. Because what they're doing is they are memorizing those words. So when they finish with one book and they pick up something different, hopefully the words that they've memorized here transfer over to this book. And now they've recognized those words, and they are in fact reading it because they've memorized the words and they're applying it to that new text. And then they pick up something a bit more difficult, and once again, they can go through and they can read this. So don't worry if it appears that they have memorized at the start. That's just that normal progression. Going back to Tiger, Tiger, the other thing you don't want to worry about is if they say the wrong word, as long as saying the wrong word still maintains the meaning of the story. So for example, I'm going to go back to this page where the mother monkey and the baby monkey are sleeping. So it says, mother monkey is, and the child, instead of saying asleep, which is what it says on the page, the child reads, mother monkey is sleeping. It doesn't change the meaning of the story. It doesn't change their understanding or their comprehension. So don't correct them at that time. Just let them go with it. Baby monkey is sleeping. Okay? They're being consistent at least. They continue with the story. What you want to do is make a mental note of it. If you have a sticky note or a scrap piece of paper next to you, you can even just write down asleep or sleeping or whatever, just so it reminds you. Continue with the story, finish the story. At the end, what you can do is flip back to that page and say, all right, well, what does this word say? And they might look at it now and say, asleep. They might look at it and say, sleeping. That's the time you want to correct them. So no, well, it says, this one says mother monkey is asleep. And you maybe direct them to the start of the word. See this, it says asleep. Get them to pronounce it back to you, get them to look at the word. So you're correcting them at that time. And there's a few reasons you don't want to correct them right away in the story. One is, again, we want to preserve that meaning and that comprehension. So if you're constantly stopping them because they've inserted a word that's not there or said sleeping instead of asleep, then there's going to be constantly those breaks of their understanding of the story. And you don't want that. So let them continue with sleeping. The other reason is you don't want to discourage them as readers. If every few lines, you're stopping them, you're correcting them, they're going to start feeling that they're not readers. They're going to start feeling bad about themselves. And you're going to create potentially a whole new problem where, okay, it's reading time, and they're going to say, nope, I'm not reading. I suck as a reader. I hate reading. I'm not doing it. No. And the book gets pushed away. I'm not reading. Okay? You don't want them, obviously, to feel that way about reading. So making them feel good about themselves, coming back to those difficult words at the end is a great way. You're not letting them get away with it. You're still teaching them that vocabulary. You're still teaching them that right word. It's just the timing of doing it and when is the appropriate time to do it. So you've read the whole book. You get to the end. What do you do now? Have a discussion about the book. Go back and read those words that they might have made a mistake on. And you're done. That's it. And then so maybe what you do on the second day or subsequent days after the first day is you go back and you reread the book that you read yesterday. So you quickly go through, they read Tiger, Tiger to you. You finish with Tiger, Tiger. You go on to the next one. And you might start with that picture walk. You might start by reading it to them. Or you might just jump right ahead and have them read it to you. Again, depending on the child and how comfortable they are with their reading and at what stage they are at of their reading development. So when you're at home reading with your child, whether it's the weekend, it's after school, it's on a holiday or vacation somewhere, I hope the strategies and techniques and tips that you've learned in this video help you do that. If you're at home and you are self-isolating or you're social distancing under quarantine, you can't get out right now, again, I hope that these strategies help you read with your child and help them continue to develop as a reader. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of each other, and keep learning.